All right, today we are uncorking a story that's all about passion, innovation, and a centuries-old tradition that's been reborn in a place you would probably never, ever guess.
Now really, just take a second. What's the very first thing that pops into your head when I say Belgium?
I'm gonna bet it's one of these, right? You're thinking of those world-famous beers, incredible chocolates, maybe some amazing waffles. I mean, it's a culinary powerhouse, no doubt about it. But what if I told you there's a new player quietly taking the stage?
Yep, you heard that right, wine. Belgium is, believe it or not, becoming this super fascinating new frontier in the world of viticulture. So how on earth is this happening? Let's dive in. So, let's explore how this tiny country, which is already famous for so many delicious things, is now starting to make its mark in the world of wine.
For decades, pretty much everyone agreed that Belgium's cool, damp climate was a total non-starter for growing quality wine grapes. But that is all changing. And what's really cool is how they're turning what used to be a weakness into a unique strength, creating a special terroir. You know, that magic mix of soil, climate, and landscape that gives a wine its one-of-a-kind character.
But here's the real twist in the story. This isn't some brand new thing. It's actually a comeback. A huge revival of a tradition that was pretty much lost for centuries.
Just look at this timeline. It shows you how incredibly resilient Belgian winemaking is. I mean, the Romans brought the first vines over, and by the Middle Ages, the monasteries had created this thriving local wine scene. But then, a perfect storm hit. Climate change. They called it the Little Ice Age, plus a bunch of devastating wars. And poof, it was all gone. It literally took until the end of the 20th century for those vines to start flourishing again.
So what exactly lit the fuse for this comeback? Well, it was a whole bunch of things coming together at once. First, a warming climate definitely helped create better growing conditions. Then you have new technologies and a much deeper scientific understanding that gave winemakers the tools they needed. But honestly, the most important piece of the puzzle? The people. These passionate producers who saw the potential and were absolutely determined to bring this lost art back to life.
Okay, so we've got the why behind the comeback. Now let's get into the how. What is it about this cool Northern European terroir that makes it so special?
You know, the very things that make the Belgian climate a challenge are also its secret weapons. Yeah, the summers are short and the winters can be pretty cold. But those cooler temperatures, they are fantastic for preserving the natural acidity in the grapes. And that's what leads to these incredibly fresh, crisp, and really elegant wines. And it's not just one uniform place. You can see here there's a ton of diversity. You've got 3 main regions, and each one has its own vibe. Haspengouw, with its clay limestone soils, is perfect for sparkling wines. Hageland is the biggest, and they do both reds and whites. And then you have the shale soils over in Côtes de Sambre et Meuse, which create these wines with a really distinct stony minerality.
All right, we've talked history, we've talked terroir. Now for the best part, the taste. What can you actually expect when you pour a glass of Belgian wine? White grapes are really the stars of the show in Belgium. You'll find the classics, of course, like Chardonnay. But the real magic is with some of the lesser-known grapes, like Müller-Thurgau and Auxerrois. These guys just thrive in the cooler climate, and they develop these incredible aromatics and a zesty minerality that's just so unique.
Now, red wines are a bit rarer, but they're showing some amazing promise. Pinot Noir, that notoriously difficult grape, is producing these elegant, light-bodied reds with beautiful fruit notes. And winemakers are also having a lot of success with these hardy hybrid grapes like Regent, which are just perfectly suited to the damp climate and make for some truly one-of-a-kind bottles.
If you had to boil down the signature style of Belgian wine into one sentence, this is it. It's all about that vibrant freshness, that crisp acidity that just makes your mouth water, and a distinct mineral quality that feels like it's speaking directly to you from the soil.
And if there is one style that is truly putting Belgium on the global wine map, it's sparkling wine. They're made using the exact same traditional method as champagne, and these wines are earning some serious international praise for their quality, their complexity, and their elegance.
But really, this is just the beginning of the story. So, what does the future actually hold for this exciting up-and-coming wine region?
Well, it's not all smooth sailing. The climate, even though it's warming, is still unpredictable. A late frost or a hailstorm can be absolutely devastating, and production is still on a really small scale, which makes it tough to compete on volume with giants like France or Italy.
But there's a powerful engine for growth starting to rev up: wine tourism. People are flocking to Belgium to check out its charming wineries, taste these unique wines, and just soak up the local culture. This isn't just a boost for the economy, it's building the international reputation of Belgian wine, one glass at a time.
So, all of this leaves us with a really fascinating question to think about. With its focus on freshness, acidity, and amazing sparkling wine, and as climate change continues to redraw the world's wine map, could Belgium become the new benchmark for cool climate wine? Only time will tell, but it's a pretty delicious possibility, isn't it?